back with another Star Wars review today. It's really building up for this marathon. I'm having a blast doing it. I love Star Wars, and if you're here, you probably love Star Wars too, guys. This is going to be my review for Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I'm so excited to be discussing this, and of course, with all these Star Wars revisitings, I will be having a guest with me for each and every one. So do look forward to that, guys. My guest this week will be from Minute Movie Pop, Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining me, and how this review is going to go, I'm going to give you guys my basic thoughts. I'm going to give it to her. She's going to give her thoughts. I'm going to score the film right after her, and then of course, you guys are going to make sure to go hit that like and subscribe for not just me. Yeah, you're going to hit that like and subscribe for this channel so you guys don't miss out on any early movie reviews, Mandalorian reviews, and in general, even reviews for Star Wars in general. And of course, you want to comment down below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on Revenge of the Sith. But you also want to make sure to go to give a like and subscribe to her videos and leave a comment letting know that I sent you over there, because she's a fantastic reviewer. I love her personality, and she just has this great charm to her. But without further ado, guys, be warned, spoilers are here. May the Force be with us all as we are heading on to the road to Episode 9. Let's get this review started right now. 3 years since the Clone Wars began, Jedi Master Obi-Wan and Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker now have rescued Palpatine from General Grievous, but as more suspicions start to rise throughout the Jedi Council, Palpatine and Anakin start to form a little of a bit of a bond, and corruption seems to happen. Revenge of the Sith is one of the first Star Wars films I ever got to see in the theaters. It was either this or Attack of the Clones. I don't necessarily remember. Dad, if you're ever watching this, make sure to comment, Dad, and let me know which one you decide to take me to first. But I've always been fascinated with this movie, and this is definitely the major prequel that is one of my favorite Star Wars films of all time. It's such a highly better movie than Attack of the Clones. And it's in general also one of my favorites because of the story and the direction in here. I think George Lucas finally nailed one of these prequel movies. I think George Lucas kind of got a grip by the end of this. I think he knew where to begin and he knew where to end it at, but it was that middle part that he didn't know where to go necessarily. And I think Revenge of the Sith really nails that all in here. This is one of those movies that I absolutely adore to death. Not just because of the storyline, the action sequences, and in general, all the new characters developments that get into this one. And while, yes, if we're talking about cons, I do still have issues with, I think the corruption of Anakin is a little bit rushed, and I think it was wasted potential not having some of that in the second one, and then the third one being kind of the whole format for that. It does feel a little bit rushed in that still. Some of the dialogue still isn't the best, and the way that Padme dies, I think, is completely garbage. But still, throw that out the door. This is a tightly paced, fun Star Wars film that I have a blast with. Score is a big perfecto, amazing, one of my favorite scores in here. The dual fate sequence over Mustafar's fight scene with Anakin and Obi-Wan is one of the most emotional and also one of the most badass lightsaber fights that we have ever encountered inside Star Wars. And really, it's still one of my favorites personally, just the way that they're going back and forth, even though it is a little bit ruined. If you look up on YouTube, you can find like people putting music to it and it looks like they're dancing, but still, you take that out of perspective, it's so greatly choreographed, and just the dynamics and the way they're going around. Again, it's that whole emotional depth building up. And could it have been better? Yes, but as a Star Wars fan, I fall in love with that every single time I watch it. And not even just that whole thing. The one thing that I absolutely love and I'm fascinated with from Revenge of the Sith, it's General Grievous. I absolutely adore General Grievous. I think he's the most underrated character in Star Wars lore and history. I have tons of action figures of him. I have tons of things of him. I mean, he's on the front of the Revenge of the Sith steelbook. That's just awesome to me. And I don't know what it is. I think it's the way that he looks, the way that he moves around, the way that he carries around 4 different lightsabers. It's just badass to me. And I just didn't think he got enough screen time. I personally do not think he does. He deserves so much more screen time in this world. And he's a fantastic character that I wanted more of. And I've just always been fascinated with Grievous, whether it's from the 2D animated Star Wars Clone Wars show to now Revenge of the Sith, and even the video games. I love General Grievous, and I love playing as him, and I'm thinking that's probably a lot of the way for you, unless a lot of you guys think he's annoying. He's so cool, the way he moves around, and his sequences with Obi-Wan, when Obi-Wan is tracking him down, are some of my favorite sequences throughout the whole entire movie. And when it comes down to their dynamic of them fighting, it's badass to say the least. And the way Obi-Wan takes him out, yeah, he takes him out. in an awesome way. And that's where it goes again. The different parallels between Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker, and by the end, obviously, they meet up for that fight at Mustafar. And again, it's same way, but the best thing about this now is that both storylines this time around are very entertaining compared to Attack of the Clones, where I mentioned that at. Whether it's Anakin, how he's having this bond with Palpatine, he's being a spy for the Jedi Council, but that's not actually what's happening, and Palpatine turns him around. You know, there's so many different dynamics in here, whether it's Palpatine fighting Mace Windu for a little bit, that's cool. Then Anakin, you dumb idiot, yeah. You killed Mace Windu. You helped attempt to kill one of the coolest Jedi in the whole council. So that's cool, Anakin. Thank you. It's awesome to see that revelation come about. And then when all the Jedi start noticing when Order 66 gets carried out, oh my god, like, again, one of those moments that really does add to the whole Star Wars depth and how encouraging and discouraging it is at the same time. To have all those elements happening all at once and the revelation between all of them and how it's occurring, it's heartbreaking. And I think the one character in here that really makes that come the most isn't just Obi-Wan, it's Yoda himself. The way that he notices how, when all this is going on with the clones, it's very heartbreaking, especially when you see him on the Wookiee land and he's grabbing and he's feeling it, and then he turns around and just cuts the two clones' heads off. Awesome there. All the action sequences on that planet are fantastic and one of my favorites for the whole film in general, just because of how badass it is and the way that's moving around. And then speaking of badass stuff, Yoda's fight with Palpatine, while it's very overly CGI, I'm all for that. And I had an amazing thing with it. And also, I'm wondering, have a lot of you guys actually seen the puppet that they used in the original Phantom Menace? I do not actually remember the puppet. Maybe it's on my VHS copy, but I never actually got to see the puppet till just a couple days ago, and I was like, that's a really, really weird to see, and I couldn't imagine if they had it in Episode 3 with him jumping back and forth. One of the most intense sequences throughout the whole entire film, and I just really adore what they did with inside this movie. And in fact, that sequence alone, Yoda is probably my favorite character in this whole entire movie. Even over Obi-Wan, who, again, Ewan McGregor is fantastic. Even over Anakin Skywalker, who Hayden Christensen, again, besides the dialogue, I would go as far as to say this is his best performance in the whole trilogy. And I think if we would have just had him in the first film and this just steadily built up and started coming to a revelation in the second one, it would have been an overall better movie and a trilogy. But Revenge of the Sith still nails that landing. And while I do think Padme is, the way she dies is dumb, it's all cool in that whole aspect of how the whole plot rises up and goes down in its resolution. We get our first look at Darth Vader, who goes, "No!" Still don't like that moment, but whatever. You can just throw it out the door. Something about Revenge of the Sith that makes it one of the most entertaining Star Wars movies. Like I mentioned earlier, George Lucas, this is easily the fastest paced Star Wars film. It is chomping at the bits and just flying at all times. Through space, through time, whatever you want to say, it's just going. It starts off fast and ends at the very much once your gas is out. And it ends perfectly in a sense where it didn't feel like it was going too long. It didn't feel like, could it have been a longer movie? Yeah. But I thought this was a pretty perfectly paced movie. And overall, Revenge of the Sith is one of my favorite Star Wars films. For me, it's actually one of the most entertaining Star Wars films, and it's one of the most rewatchable ones as well. But with all that said, Stephanie, what are your thoughts on Revenge of the Sith?
What's up, everyone? This is Stephanie from Minute Movie Pop, and I want to first thank Zach for having me here because we're going to go back in time and review the third installment of the Star Wars saga, Revenge of the Sith. This is the first Star Wars film to be rated PG-13, and coincidentally enough, I was 13 back in 2005. So it was my first PG-13 experience, and I loved Star Wars back then. I still love it now, so I remember having a great time watching this. And it was not the same for my sisters and my mom because they aren't big Star Wars fans. So I remember my little sister fell asleep during the movie because it was way too long. So either you like it or you don't, but you've seen it if you're here, so let's talk about it. I want to begin with the negative so we can get that out of the way and go to the good part. And on the negative side, we have the dialogue. It isn't the greatest, and it has some moments that are too corny, too cheesy, that take away the moment, the seriousness of it. And, you know, some things can be implied and there's no need for words, but the words are there. And I obviously did not notice that back then, but now as an adult rewatching it, oui. And it really goes hand in hand with the delivery of a line. The way it's said, the acting isn't that great at times. It is not the worst, but it definitely changes the way you see a scene. If we take the final battle as an example, it feels like it's going on forever. The audience is just like, when is this going to be over? It's been hitting the same beats, and I think it could have been cut shorter and had the same impact. The lightsaber choreography is good, but it feels more of a choreography rather than a battle. Some of that changes further into the saga, and I really enjoyed that. It doesn't feel too forced. My positive side of things mainly consist of the scenes between Anakin and Palpatine. I really like when they're together and how their characters grow, you know, the character development between the two. And I'm still baffled by the fact that the Emperor has been orchestrating every single thing leading Anakin towards the dark side. This choice that he makes, it's made out of love. His true intention is to save Padme and his family. And it's this constant battle between love and power. His motivation is understandable, but he turns to the dark side pretty quickly. You know, it's one moment, oh no, I'm against you. The next, yes, let's go kill some children. After he becomes Darth Vader, he is gradually changing until Padme dies, and that is when the last ray of hope is gone. And that is exactly when one of my favorite scenes comes in, the contrast between the rise of Darth Vader, the birth of Darth Vader, and the birth of the twins, which is the rise of light. It is happening at the exact same moment. We're going back and forth between these two. And that is the kind of subtlety I am talking about when I say some things are too on the nose or some things need to be said. My ranking for Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, out of 5 stars, I give this 3.5 stars. It is a good movie. It has some flaws, but it has some character development that really works and explains further storylines within the saga. So I like it. It is not perfect, but it isn't the worst. As a side note, I am very excited for Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. It comes out in just 1 month. We are going to see the last of the Skywalker family, and it's going to be interesting to have the Emperor Palpatine back. I'm sure he's going to be up to no good, so let's wait and see how this goes. Thank you so much for having me, Zach. I had a great time. If you guys want to check out my YouTube channel, it is youtube.com/MinuteMoviePop. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter @StephGallardo. Keep enjoying the road to Episode 9, and may the Force be with you.
I give you guys my final thoughts on Revenge of the Sith. I want to say thank you again to Stephanie. Make sure to go hit her like and subscribe and comment down below on one of her videos. Let her know that I sent you over there. Make sure to comment on this video. Hit that like and subscribe button as well. And do look forward to more Star Wars reviews coming up in the next couple of days just because we are preparing for Episode 9. I can't wait. Mandalorian reviews, all sorts of stuff like that. Tons of stuff happening on this channel every single day. And I don't want you guys to miss out on that. So make sure to also go over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early. And a big thank you to you for clicking on this video, and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. Overall, Revenge of the Sith is one of the most entertaining, energetic Star Wars films in the whole saga. I have a blast. I can rewatch this one tons of times. The score is great. The action is incredible. Some of the dialogue and emotions kind of dumb and still doesn't work for me. And maybe that's just because I didn't feel like it built up and was necessarily needed, or in general, not even needed isn't the word, but I would say it wasn't earned. But George Lucas, this is easily his best prequel. That's the truth. And I would actually even go as far to say this is his best directed Star Wars film. Yeah, I would go as far to say that. I like this film a lot, and I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts down below, so I can't wait to comment with you guys down there. Thank you again, Stephanie, for joining me, and with all that said, I'm going to give Revenge of the Sith an A-. As a Star Wars fan, I'd give it an A-, but if it was a film fan, I'd probably give it a B+. Like, I still have a lot of fun with it, and because it's a Star Wars movie, it's like that. I know some of you guys are like, Zach, you were really harsh on Attack of the Clones. Well, I was. I don't really like Attack of the Clones. I think it's an okay movie, and even for a Star Wars fan, it's... yeah, the third act's awesome, but the rest is... Thank you guys again so much for watching this, and of course, I'll make sure to catch you guys at the movie soon. May the Force be with you all as we head into Rogue One next with Griffin Schiller at Film Speak. Thank you guys again, and until next time, stay classy.